Hey everybody, I'm Ruby with Valhalla Organics, and I'm just getting ready to do our first real inspection for the bees. So I'm going to be doing some mite tests and checking on how much they've grown and how much beeswax they've built in the last week. So we'll get started in just a minute. I'm going to go get suited up and you'll get to see the whole process.
The first thing I do before any inspection is to observe what's happening at the front door. You can really learn a lot if you observe the bees coming and going from their hives. Their flight patterns, how fast or slow they're flying, how many are going in, how many are coming out, and sometimes you can even see the forager bees carrying pollen back into the hives. So they pack that pollen onto their hind legs, and those are called pollen pants. So I always spend some time just observing the bees flying in and out before I get started with my inspection.
All right, so today doing my first inspection. Just say hello here. Hello, friends. Coming in to check on you. All right, here we go. Friends. They've already started gluing down this inner cover with some propolis, which is great. Definitely got a lot of bees working on it. So yeah, that's what they've made so far. On this frame, there's a little dusting of wax and a little bit of nectar on the very outside. So that's great. Comb is a little bit wonky, but I'm not super worried about it. This one actually had some beeswax comb already drawn on it, and they have really filled it up. There's a bunch of nectar on this side and more nectar. So yeah, they're just filling this up with food. There's a ton of pollen in there. Some of the honey on the top is actually getting capped. So that's great. I'm not going to go too deep into this hive today because I don't want to disturb them too much. Typically I wait 2 weeks in between inspections, but these little nucleus hives were so full of bees and so out of room for building anything new, and I wanted to make sure and get them the new boxes right away. This is a brood frame. I can see very young larvae, eggs. There's some honey and nectar and stuff in there too, but most of this is a brood frame, and that is all beautifully capped brood. Those are bees getting ready to emerge. I'm starting to be a little bit pissed. So I'm going to take the sample that I need to do the mite test. You want a frame that has a lot of nurse bees on it. This is going to look a little crazy, but I'm going to shake them into this bucket and then take a sample that I'll test to see how many of these little mites they actually have. Hopefully it won't be very many. The reason for doing that kind of knock off into the bin is that you want a sample of nurse bees. Those are young bees that are taking care of the brood, and they don't really know how to fly yet. So all the bees that are flying out are the older bees that I don't really want to sample. I want a sample of those young nurse bees. So you kind of see them, they're all just like, I don't know what's going on, I can't fly, I'm in a bucket. Ask for volunteers who will volunteer to sacrifice your life for the good of the hive. If you know anything about bees, you know that pretty much every one of them would say, heck yeah. You know, just going to put little nurse bees back in their home. Very worried and concerned. windows here so that any of the remaining ones can just walk straight on up to the front door and get back in that way. Replace this frame. And I'm going to take a quick look at the other brand new frame that I put in this hive. Just to kind of see where they're at. Cool. But yeah, this hive is definitely ready for a new box. The rule is when the box that they're in is about 80% full. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so they've collected a ton of pollen on there. It's all different colors. They're starting to draw wax on the outside frame. So I would say this box is definitely at least 80% full. And so I'm going to give them a new box, a little more room. And then we're just going to close them up and let them be. Do my little mite test. I'll show you how that's done. So this is just a brand new box, brand new frames. And give this to them so they can expand their area even bigger. I usually put it on kind of a skew like this and then slowly slide it into place. And that's better than putting it directly down. You might squish some bees that way. So just ease it on there. Works best. I'm just going to center these frames. Make sure the box is on there all good. Alright, I'm going to place that inner cover. These ladies are so nice. And the roof, and that's it. Sorry. They don't love it when you bang things around. I wouldn't either. So inside here, basically a little strainer. So I've got my sample of bees. And I'll just shake it up, swirl it around. And it's basically an alcohol wash. So any of those mites that are crawling around on the bees will get strained out. And I should be able to see them in the solution down here. I see what looks like maybe 2 mites. Give it a good shake. There's a certain threshold of mites that is acceptable, and if you have more than that, then you need to do some treatments. So I'm going to take a closer look at this later, but yeah, it looks like only 2 mites, and my treatment threshold is actually 3 mites in the sample, so that's great. I'm going to make a note of that. So that was basically perfect. That's exactly what I would want to see. I'm very pleased, and I'm just going to go down the line and do the same thing on the rest of the hives. So I'm going to stop the video for now. But thank you so much for watching. It's really great to have guests in the bee yard, and you don't even have to worry about getting stung. All right, so I've finished my inspections. You can see the hives are now much bigger with much more space. I'm really pleased with what I found during the inspection, and you see there's a few bees that are not that impressed with me, but generally speaking, they were really calm and good. And this is nothing a little walk through the woods won't fix. As soon as I get far enough away from the hives, these bees will give up and go back home. I hope you're loving these videos, and we would love to have you subscribe to the channel so you'll never miss one of our updates. Thanks so much for watching.